Alright, Mother. Figured I'd give you a different view. I don't think you ever made it up the treehouse. Hush up. There is our cleared lot. We're going to take down that dead tree. We're going to leave that live tree. We got a couple loads to take out of here. Hope I don't cut this phone off. I'm quite late. Supposed to be meeting Tim to go fishing. Shut up! I was going to read this tomorrow, but Hunter had a relapse last night of suicidal potential. He called me at 1 something in the morning and wanted a ride. He was clearly intoxicated, very upset, yelling and screaming, and Alexis was in the background crying. Will y'all shut up? And not necessarily by design, but I told him I just could not come get him. I had taken my pain medicine, I'd taken 2 melatonin, I'd already had 2 scotches, and I was gone. There just wasn't any way I could help him. And there's a very thin line between helping somebody and enabling them. I'm not calling out names, but sometimes you have enablers that, what's the word? Precipitate or continue poor behavior. And even though, as I said, it wasn't by design, I couldn't help him the way he wanted to be helped. And as bad as it sounds, it was probably for the better, the good. And that's kind of what this story's about, is help when you can help, but don't be an enabler. And Francis's promise tonight, we're all afflicted with this, we call it social anxiety. It's probably got a better scientific name. I can't stand lights, I can't stand noise, I can't stand crowds. Sarah's the same way. Francis, she's down there, she's just anxious about prom tonight. But Francis has the ability, as I just told her, to take her anxiety and turn it into she's the life of the party. Where I've never been able to do that. Hunter can't do it, and Sarah can't do it. And Hunter and I have always medicated with alcohol. I've learned over the 50-some years that I just can't be in those situations and drink too long, because I'll cross the line. I go from that really small, happy place where you're jovial and social and getting along, and then at some point you just cross over. You never know when it's coming up on you. It just happens, and then you're a prick. But apparently that happened to Hunter last night. He knew he'd been doing really well. He hadn't been drinking. He hadn't been partying. He'd been keeping himself away from whoever were the bad influences. If somebody had a birthday, Somehow he got compelled to go to this bar. He didn't want to go. All hell broke loose. But I guess I was able to talk him down. Anyway, as I said, this story is about being an enabler or being a helper. It's called The Prodigious Prick Professes to His Mothers, to whom I have many mothers over the years. My mother. You think about all Miss A, Liz Settle, Sheila, Miss Hines. I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but they've all been my mothers at one point or another. Excuse me. The prodigious prick professes to his mothers. There's a picture my wife took when we started dating again for the fourth time. It sits in a little frame atop a wormy chestnut hutch in our living room, along with many other valued photos. This particular picture is unique because it is 3 frames arranged as one image, telling a story that speaks volumes. In one corner, you can clearly see my son Hunter, about 3 to 4 years old. It's a fall day, clear and crisp, and he stares puzzled and concerned over a flowing river where the landscape and water mirror each other so seamlessly you can't tell where the shoreline is. But if you look very closely, you can see me sitting on the shore like I grew there, my back toward Hunter, hat pulled low, peering in this swirling collage of color. Below this frame is a tale of rescue. Hunter scales down precipitous boulders, I guess I was trying to be a writer, to help his father. Alone and in need. Frayed blue jeans show his struggle as he reaches firm footing at the bottom after an exhausting descent. Northeast upon this frame lies the third image, Hunter again. A relieved and telling half smile on his face, like he just had some epiphany. A smile that says, "You know, that's my daddy. He's not alone. He's okay. I'll just go back up top and watch over him." Little fingers scratching and digging as he ascends back up to his perch. Is that how that scene really played out? Who can remember? I don't know. Other people's mantles and shelves would have the picture of father and son sitting by the river bonding an emotional turn of love. But not my shelf. Does the idea of that missing image seem sad to you? Kind of seems sad to me. Well, don't let it. In this case of art imitating life, my wife got it perfect. At 4 years of age, you know you're addressing your fears and not someone else's. There's been some bonding going on. That's how I know my son's got my back. That's why he's watching over me. Fear and anxiety, loneliness and despair are tremendous, powerful emotions that can play havoc with your mind and prey on your spirit. When these emotions take hold, it's a natural instinct to look to family and friends for support. Those with a strong family and a long network of friends will often fare better than those without, but not always. Why is that? To me, the answer is not so shrouded. It's simply the difference between a crutch and a wheelchair. Do you want something to lean on, or do you need something to carry you through life? I speak from experience because I was in a wheelchair for quite a while, and I didn't want to stay in it. Even though I'm aware of this analogy, it doesn't mean I don't have a wheelchair. My particular vehicle of dependency has no wheels but lots of air, fleas, and noise. In 47 years of life, I have gone not one without a dog or dogs. By far the best form of special needs transportation ever created. You can be off the map, lonely, in despair, and a dog can make you feel loved. Dogs make you move. They make you exercise, which means they get you out in the sun. That makes you feel better. Let's say, for instance, you've had the worst, most shit-filled day of your life. I mean, everything's gone wrong. So you go home looking for some support, some love and attention. The problem is, when you get home, your wife has had the worst, most shit-filled day ever too. So you call a friend. Hey man, let's go fishing and drink some beer. But he can't because he's got to take his daughter to soccer practice. Then you think you'll call your mother and your father, or your sister and your brother, but they're all in different counties or states, even in different countries. Or maybe you're so old that your parents are dead, and that really makes you feel bad and sorry for yourself. Your eyes start to fill with tears. You're getting ready to lose it. So you run out back for some air, and as soon as you step out of the deck, you step into a pile of dog shit. That's it. You lose it. Kicking and flailing, the dogs run and hide. You unleash a train of obscenity and insults on those dogs that require the lungs of a professional opera singer. You say things to those dogs you would never say to your boss or your parents, wife or kids. And as you're crouching over, crying and cursing, scraping dog shit off your shoes with a twig, you get a big, cold, sloppy nose right in your ear. You turn around and that stupid son of a bitch you just lambasted for everything in the world it didn't do is sitting beside you with no fear, wagging his tail. Instant love. Best wheelchair ever made. People handle stress and fear in different ways. The way they deal with circumstances dictates what they lean on, but paradoxically, what they lean on dictates how they cope. Fear is not a river whose current flows in one direction. Fear is an ocean whose tide rises and falls, reciprocating the gravity of that which is forced upon it. So choosing a crutch or a wheelchair becomes inherently important, because for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. A teardrop in an ocean is not without consequence. One tear too many, and you have a flood. You try and steal every video I make, don't you? Alright, go on now. Go on and bark at something. Close. Yeah, I'm sad, and you know it. We're all sad. Now, go on. Jesus Christ. Go on, Clovis. I am well known throughout family and friends, and even to myself, for being a lone wolf. I am by nature difficult to be close to. often unapproachable, and seemingly selfish and introverted. Over the years, I've been tested and diagnosed with various forms of depression, social anxiety, social mood disorders, melancholy, ADD, you name it. I've taken and currently take medication to combat these mental afflictions that follow me. A pharmaceutical crutch is prescribed to help me overcome my disorders, become more mainstream with society, and be happy. I actually contend that I am perfectly fine, but have to be medicated to become a more suitable crutch, and even drugged, I'm not a very good one. Regardless, whether drugged or not, I have passion and conviction, skills and talent, and I have love and family. With all that I have, I am zealously cautious to protect it. So the world will have to excuse me when they lean on me and I push back. I'm just doing my job. Otherwise, we may all fall down. I'm sure some people think I'm too harsh. You have to bond and hug, talk and sing, cry and laugh, etc., etc. This is all true to an extent, and with the right people at the right time, for the right period. And what if I am too harsh and uncaring? You're forced to do one of two things. Go find another crutch, or suck it up and get over it. Which of these options make you feel better, and which of them makes you better? You're welcome. So is there a premedicated method to my madness, or am I just a selfish prodigal prick? Probably a little of both. But let me give you a scenario. Let's say the day you stepped in dog shit, let's say that day you stepped in dog shit made you so upset, you called me for support because you don't even own a dog. Then, I, being exactly the crutch you wanted, came over to console you. But I became so overcome with emotion that we decided to walk hand in hand all day, crying, cursing dogs, and showing everyone we saw the dog shit on your shoe. Eventually, with our tales of woe and dog shit in foot, we rallied enough support that we marched in protest through every street, yard, and park in the city. A unified band of bonding physical, emotional support. Our numbers became so large that we knew the gravity of our protest would turn the tide of free-range shitting dogs. And as we besieged the steps of the city hall, like that famous scene in Rocky II, we were not just one shitting shoe of angst and fear. We were a flooded sea of shoe shitting stompers, for we all had been soiled by our own shitty fear. That's a lot to say. Now, what if on that same day you stepped in dog shit, you called me for support, and being the selfish prodigal prick I am, I exclaimed, "Don't bring that shit over here, and why don't you watch where you're going?" Which of those two scenarios would make you feel better, and which one was actually helpful? You're welcome again. Sometimes the best support is no support, or at least not the kind you're hoping for. My daughter Frances has been limping around the past few days with a brace on her leg. A diving injury, I think. Does she need a brace? No. She thinks she needs a little more attention. So I'll entertain the idea a bit longer, but not forever. Soon she'll have to learn to suck it up, stand on her 2 feet, and dive in. That's how she'll get the attention she really wants. I recently had surgery on my shoulder. It hurt. It hurt bad. I didn't want to take my pain pills, but the first few days I had to. I needed that crutch. The doctor put my arm in a soft cast, and I was told to do exercises and therapy at home. It hurt. I leaned on my wife for support. 2 days after the operation, my wife, at my request, was doing things to me that made me cry like a baby and left permanent teeth marks in a wooden spoon. It was like that for a couple weeks. Much sooner than I was supposed to, I came out of that cast trying to do little projects and nap arrowheads. My wife continued exercising and massaging my shoulder. I kept biting that spoon. By the time I really got settled into physical therapy, the therapist was amazed that I already had 80% rotation and was 3 weeks ahead of schedule. I told him I had my wife and a wooden spoon to thank for that. He never understood the wooden spoon. The funny thing about that whole shoulder surgery was how I handled my fear. It was different than you might think. I wasn't afraid of surgery or pain, drugs or therapy. I was scared of failure. Failing as a husband and a father. Failing as a provider. Oh, damn it. And becoming a burden. Needing my family as a crutch. Not being the crutch for them. So my wife and I decided long beforehand I was going in cool as a cucumber, but coming out hot as a firecracker. No fear, no apprehension. We set the tone for how this conflict would play out. Well, I was not expecting this. It's supposed to be funny. Excuse me. If fear is an ocean, love is a seascape where the ocean and sky marry each other so seamlessly, you can't tell where one stops and the other begins. They are one. And as I lie in pain, unable to move my arm, my wife moves it for me. Hand in hand, as one. Together we cry a flood of tears. I really wasn't expecting this. I thought this would be funny. I think this whole shit with Hunter last night has got me really emotional. Hand in hand as one, together we cry a flood of tears. I have no fear of pain, no fear of failure. Just a silent bond of love. I know she's got my back. She's watching over me, and I over her. Shit does happen, and we all step into it sometime or another. Some piles are bigger than others, and we may need help getting free and clean. And that's fine. That's what friends and family are for. So have a lean or grab a crutch if you think you need to. But if you didn't get the support you want, you might have got the support you needed. The truth is, support is seamless and silent. It comes from within because you set the tone and you created your family and network. You don't need a crutch. I got your back. Take it from someone who has 3 wheelchairs. They're overrated. Depending on too much help to get you through life just makes more dog shit to step in. Me not coming to get Hunter last night forced him to take another long, hard look at his situation. And he's got some tough decisions to make that no one can make for him. But he's got to make them. I can support him and I can help him, but I'm not fucking enabling his ass. At least I don't think I am. Anyway, I'm late. I'm going fishing. Hope you like your different view, Mother, in my Sanford and Son backyard. Some of my baskets, some of my birdhouses, some of my shit, more of my shit, my uncut grass, my vacant lot. Alright, well, I'll see you next weekend for your birthday.